Hello, this is Alejandro Bratti from Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business, and welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Singo TV channel 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Singo TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free and is available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. Today, I am really happy and honored to have Sasha with me and with us. This is going to be a very interesting topic and conversation because Sasha specializes herself in something that we do a lot of times per minute.
It's
Uh,
true.
so let's start with a little bit of you. How are you, Sasha?
I'm doing very well, thank you, and thank you for inviting me to your program. I appreciate this.
So, quick question: What are? Let's start to explain. I know that you are very into Buteyko. Let's explain a little bit of what you are doing and Buteyko, and then we're going to go back in your life and why you started to discover this method and understanding how to apply it and how you are helping thousands of people with this.
Sure. So I work with breathing professionally. I'm an advanced Buteyko breathing specialist and also co-founder of Buteyko Breathing Center.com website. And I help people to change their automatic breathing patterns in order to overcome various diseases and just in general to feel better, um, to feel happier, and create a foundation for longevity as well.
Awesome. And really, this is something that I am excited because sometimes we focus a lot on our diet. Like, okay, what is the diet that I have? And I have to improve my diet. Uh, but your diet, if you stop eating for some days and even some weeks, nothing happens. It's even better for you sometimes, like having this fasting. If you don't drink water for some days, it's fine. But if you don't breathe for some minutes, you're going to start to have some problems. So sometimes we don't think about the breathing as something important for our health and our well being, but it's key and it's really a game changer for our lives and everybody. So let's start to understand from your life perspective, Sasha, how you got to this point of doing this, why you are so passionate about this, what is exactly that is leading you to do this.
Yeah, yeah, I believe my story is quite interesting. Right now, I live in the United States, but originally I'm from Russia. And I used to live in Moscow, and I used to publish the first holistic magazine in Russia, which became quite popular at that time. And it was a major publication in that field. So at a certain point, I received a phone call from a doctor who worked with Konstantin Buteyko, who was a famous Russian physiologist. And this doctor asked me to meet with Dr. Buteyko and write an article about his work. And the doctor tried to convince me that the breathing method created by Dr. Buteyko could cure many diseases and make people feel much better in general. And listening to him, I didn't believe him. My thought at that time was that I would believe if a breathing technique could, help with one problem. But with so many problems, so almost all problems, I'm not going to buy it. And I refused to meet with Dr. Buteyko at that time. And then, quite a few years after, when I already lived in the United States and my husband was suffering from severe asthma, I was reminded about Dr. Buteyko's work because it was mostly known as a natural asthma cure. And at that time, my husband and I tried to do anything we could to stop or at least to tame his breathing difficulties. And a lot of things helped, but nothing really created a dramatic shift. Definitely nothing created a cure. So we were told by all doctors that asthma is an incurable disease and he should be on medication for the rest of his life. And that medication would have had very strong side effects. So his health should become actually worse and worse over time. So we were quite desperate. And I decided to give a call to the Buteyko clinic in Moscow, which I did. And I talked to Lyudmila Buteyko, the wife of, at that time, the widow of Dr. Buteyko. And she said, "You need to fly to Moscow and we can cure your husband's asthma." I was like, well, that's impossible. All doctors say that it's an incurable disease. So it was difficult to believe her, but yet her voice sounded very sincere. And we decided to jump into a plane and fly to Moscow, which we did. We spent about a month in the Buteyko clinic in Moscow learning the method. It, it helped tremendously. My husband's breathing difficulties they didn't stop at that time, but they were greatly diminished. And also, so he didn't speak Russian, and I had to translate everything for him. And even before we flew to Moscow, he already started learning about the Buteyko method. And he said, I think that that's it. Both of us should become certified in this method and we should become the teachers of this method. And I said, absolutely not. If you want to teach a breathing technique, go ahead. I'm not going to do it. But when we were in Moscow, I was slowly realizing that the Buteyko method wasn't just a breathing technique, it was a radically new progressive view on health in general and on natural health improvement. I also realized that the Buteyko method was deeply connected to ancient knowledge, which, especially Asian knowledge, I believe, which is still kept as sacred in many, as precious or sacred in many cultures. And then I became very interested. So eventually I became a certified Buteyko breathing specialist. The family of Dr. Buteyko at that time asked us to represent the method in the United States. That was probably about 15 years ago. And since then, I worked with people all over the world, helping them to become healthier by breathing more efficiently.
Mm.
I want to say by breathing smart. Buteyko breathing is smart breathing.
and and really, I don't do this, but I am going to be part of the examples that you are you are doing and working with you for sometimes for me save my kid. And that's a very big statement, but it was true. That's the way I connected with Sasha, understanding. I didn't want my kid at that time had 2 years old, and he was having a lot of problems with breathing, and he has his tonsils really big. He was blocking almost 70%, no more than 80% of the
Airways.
yeah, exactly. So at the end, he couldn't eat or breathe in a good way. And everything that the doctor were saying is you need to do a surgery. There is no other way. And I found Sasha and the book that she had about surgery. Adenoids without surgery or something like that.
Adenoids without surgery. Yes, that's correct. Mhm.
And and when I started to read it, it was like, oh, this is amazing, but I don't know if it's possible. Let's find Sasha, and I found her, and I started to talk with her, and she started to teach us how to have this conversation and improve it. She was even watching my kid Danielle improve, and according to doctors, he was like going bad, and every day was really worse. And when we started to do this method, everything started to go like every time better. Uh, there was something that I don't know if you remember, but at that time it was like, okay, he was 2 years old, and it was so difficult for me to teach, like, okay, this is what you need to do. And he's a toddler, and he wants to do whatever he wants, and he was like not really paying attention of what are the things that I wanted him to do. You even had a conversation with a doctor. I don't remember his name, from Russia. Uh, and I was in that conversation with him, and I told him, like, I really believe in the Buteyko method. It's amazing, but I don't know how you can apply it in a 2 years old. That is so difficult, it's impossible. And he told me, no, that is very easy, Alejandro, very, very easy. And I was like, nah, you don't have kids. That's the reason you're saying that it's easy. And the reality is, he told me, Alejandro, it's very easy. You have to do it yourself.
That's
And
right.
at that moment, I realized that I was not breathing well, and I started to do the work for myself, not only for my kids but for myself. And when I started to do it for myself, my kids started to follow, and that's exactly what happened. So for me, this is really powerful. Sasha, there is something else that, for example, that happened to me. I had a problem in my stomach for a lot of time. Uh, and bloating and other things, and I thought that that was normal for me. When you have so many years with that problem, it's like it becomes like the normality for you. uh, and you don't see that there is a problem. It's only like, okay, that's the way I am, and you don't think that there is a problem. What do you do to help people maybe that is listening to us right now to understand that, yes, maybe there is a way to improve, and there is something that is not okay? What are the things that you do?
Absolutely. Hmm. Yeah, this is a very interesting question because when I look at myself before I started practicing Buteyko, at that time I was at the beginning, in the beginning of my 40s, and my health wasn't that great. I had allergies, I had digestive problems, I had many things. I had heart problems, I had kidney problems, nothing severe, but a lot of small problems. And at that time, I really considered myself being healthy and didn't think much about it. And only now, practicing the Buteyko method, I understand how extremely unhealthy I was at that time. I
Mm,
just wasn't aware of it. So, the situation which you described is very typical, and many people go through it when they start working on their breathing. They gradually realize that they are not healthy at all, and that could be changed. So for the modern society, being unhealthy it's kind of a norm. So many people have to take medication, whether natural or not natural, but still medication to maintain a state of balance in the body. Dr. Buteyko believed that being disease free, being healthy, is a completely natural state.
mm,
That's what's normal. Yeah? Being, ill is abnormal. And
mm,
fortunately for us, he left us a very clear path how to move from the state of being unhealthy with whatever diseases or the health problems, let's say, to the state of being healthy. And we can do it by using our breath as our guide.
mm. So one of the things that I understand that we can do to start to measure how healthy we are is this control pause. that it's something that helps us to start to understand, okay, I am very good, I am more or less. So can you explain us a little bit how that works, so anybody that is here start to, they can do it in their homes, they don't have to go to a doctor to understand it.
Absolutely. Well, first, I would like to say that maybe it would be helpful for people to go to my website, breathingcenter.com, and click on the button which is called Breathing Test. And they will see the videos explaining step by step how to measure their breathing. But in general, a person needs to inhale gently through the nose. The mouth has to be completely closed. Then exhale gently through the nose. And then you need to block your nose like this. Of course, the mouth has to remain being closed throughout this whole thing. And you need to count the number of seconds you are comfortable not to breathe. And the measurements are different for the sea level, and for high altitudes. But right now we'll talk only about sea level. So if a person truly healthy, if a person at the level of optimal health, then that person should be able to stop breathing after exhalation for 60 seconds
Mm,
without a great effort and without gasping for the air after. So when you open your nose, it still should be relatively gentle breathing, but nothing like nothing like that. Yeah. And so there's an option of submit the breathing measurements on this page, and people will receive a free report explaining what their measurements mean. So
mm,
Dr. Buteyko found out that the time of a person comfortably stopping their breathing actually correlates to our overall health.
mm,
By evaluating this time, we can evaluate our overall health. So what people will notice is that if their health is very weak, then they will be able to stop breathing only for a few seconds. If their breathing is strong, if their health is strong, then they will be able to stop their breathing for a significant period of time, like a minute.
and just to give more ideas on this, for example, something that I love to run, and I have been running all my life, not really as a professional, just something that I do as athletic, and I want to do some cardio and that type of thing. But before understanding this method, I had a couple of people saying to me I have to breathe only through my nose when I was running, and I was like, no, that is really impossible. What they are saying, that I feel that I am dying when I do that. Eh, and that's another measurement, and it's going to help you to start to understand if you are breathing through your nose, that means that you are pushing too hard, and you need to
Through
slow
your
down.
mouth. Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your mouth, yeah.
So I think it's very important to understand that we, as human beings, are supposed to breathe through the nose only. Dr. Buteyko said, breathe through your mouth as often as you eat through your nose. Right? Yeah. So, and what the message he was trying to deliver was that the mouth is like an apparatus for digesting food. The nose is like an apparatus for conditioning the air. The nose, purifies the air. A lot of harmful bacteria and microbes get killed actually on the mucous membrane of the nose. The nose warms the air if necessary and also performs many other functions. So, because breathing is incredibly important, we can, survive without breathing only for a few minutes. So breathing is essential for us. And because of that, we are given the second function, the second option, which is breathing through the mouth.
mm,
This option is given to us for extreme situations. For example, if someone is attacking you or if a wild animal is chasing you, then you absolutely should breathe through your mouth while running away from this situation or fighting an enemy. Because if you breathe through your mouth, it sends a message to your brain that the situation is extreme and all the resources of the body should be available for you right now. Because at that particular moment, it's more important to save life than to save the resources, right?
mm,
So that's how it works in an ideal world. And it used to work the same way because, before people needed to do things much more more physical things. So when the situation was extreme, it was often related to a physical action. Now, let's say, I sit in front of my computer every day. Someone sent me an unpleasant email. I feel stressed. And immediately, a person, not me, I need to say, but the person will start breathing through the mouth
mm,
because when it's stressful, the body assumes that we will need to fight or run away.
mm,
So the person is sitting in front of the computer being stressed, breathing through the mouth, the body receives the message that this situation is extreme and makes all its resources available.
mm.
And a person actually loses a lot of energy and a lot of nutrients and so on. So now back to your question about running. People often assume that physical activity is always good for health. That's not true. Physical activities are good for health only if they're combined with healthy breathing through the nose, first of all. So many people, in fact, just this morning, I had a session from a person from Massachusetts, and he has been running every morning for 50 years now, almost 50 years. And his health is really bad right now. And he said, it's especially bad after running. And I said, of course, because you run breathing heavily through your mouth. You overbreathe, you hyperventilate. And it seems to me, Alejandro, that the same was happening with you.
Yes.
So when you run, it's really important to maintain nasal breathing through the nose. And even more than that, quiet breathing or silent breathing. Because, I'll show you the worst way to run. How to run to damage your health. It's very easy. You run like this and breathe like this. Right? So it's
Yes.
inevitable that the person will end up with a health issue. Now, another type, it's a little bit better, but still not healthy. So I'm going to run breathing through my nose, but my breathing is still going to be heavy like this. Right? So I was still hyperventilating, but I was doing it through my nose instead of the mouth. It's better, but not good enough. And then the type of running, which is really conducive to good health, is running with silent breathing like this. Right? And for some people, of course, it's impossible at the beginning because their breathing is very weak. So maybe they could just start by walking slowly, breathing silently through their nose. And it's a good beginning. But then if they continue working on their breathing, eventually they will be able to run or lift weights, do all kind of athletic activities and combine it with quiet breathing through the nose.
Thank you for that, because understanding that is key for everything. At the end, something with what you were saying before is, if I am reading that email and I am breathing through my mouth because that is automatic and I am not thinking about it,
Mhm.
suddenly I am activating parts of my body, thinking that I have a lion behind me.
That's right.
And seems like my body thinks that there is a lion even when there is nothing and nothing is happening, and suddenly I am feeling so bad and I am feeling anxious and a lot of things that start to happen just because the way I was breathing and because it was automatic. So because that is automatic, what have you done to start to learn, and what are part of the process to start to learn, like, okay, I didn't realize that I was breathing badly, or I was, but with what the example that you are giving, I understand that I am doing that.
Mhm.
How I can start to improve and to secure that I start in the right path.
Mhm. Absolutely. So the method, there are many elements to this method, but I would like, people who watch this program to take something practical, something they can apply with them. So here's how you start, and it's the same actually for adults or children. So first of all, you need to create awareness of your breathing. Many people don't even know if they breathe through the mouth or through the nose. They also don't know if their chest is moving while breathing, or their belly is ever moving, or maybe they're breathing and helping, their lungs to get air by moving their shoulders. So first, it's really important to examine your breathing and to determine how do you breathe. How do you breathe during the day and during the night? Also, when you exercise, when you work, and so on. So, when you become aware of your breathing, you can practice gentle nasal breathing. Also, a technique which could be very helpful for people is to put one palm on the one hand on the chest and another one on the belly, and just breathe normally and observe what's going on, what will be happening with your hands. For some people, the hand on the chest will be moving quite a bit. For others, the hand on the belly will be moving, or maybe both. So if one or both hands are moving, it means that breathing is not very healthy, because healthy breathing is supposed to be invisible. Invisible means that the shoulders don't move when you breathe, the chest doesn't move when you breathe, and eventually even the belly doesn't move when you breathe. So how healthy breathing looks like? If you imagine yourself standing in front of a big mirror and your torso is completely naked, so you're looking at your reflection, nothing in this reflection should indicate that you are breathing. And that's how healthy breathing looks like, which is very different to what people assume. Because people usually assume that breathing healthy means taking a big breath. No, it's actually the opposite from that. So that's a good start, practicing nasal and invisible breathing during the day. And the next step is to establish breathing through the nose during the night, which is, a slightly different goal, because we are not aware of our breathing at night. So we need some tools to do that. Well, first, I want to say that the way how people breathe at night and during the day are very different, right? And for some reason, people think it's normal. So let's say a person snores and breathes at night something like this. You know, this is very typical. A lot of people breathe like
Yeah.
that during the night. And, the spouses who hear it, they think it's okay. Maybe it's uncomfortable, but okay. But if the same person starts breathing like this during the day, then it's for sure that people around would think that something is seriously wrong with you. Should I call 911?
Yes.
Right? So the standards for day breathing and night breathing are completely different when they should be the same. No, breathing should remain being nasal and silent, or at least as quiet as possible during the night. And that, to establish that type of breathing at night, people need to use a very simple tool, which is called gentle medical paper tape, and available in any pharmacy. And you just pick up a little piece like this, simply put it in the middle of your mouth, and go to bed. It's really safe because if a person really needs to open the mouth, you can still do that, right? So the tape acts just as a reminder for the body, and it really, really helps people to establish healthy breathing through the nose at night. And this little tool could also help children to breathe through their noses at night, which is very important because when children breathe through the mouth, just like Daniel did, that usually triggers many health problems. And some of them are enlarged adenoids, enlarged tonsils, sleep apnea, difficulties concentrating. A child could become very moody, fatigue, and many others. So just such a little inexpensive simple thing like a little piece of tape could actually create a very serious health improvement. So it's good for everyone to know that.
Um, just for everybody that is listening, at the first, if you are a mouth breather and you do it a lot in the at night, my case, what happened to me when I decided, oh, I'm going to put that tape on my mouth. I remember Sasha for like a week because it was like, what is happening? I can breathe. I am dying right now, and
Uh-huh.
it was difficult at the beginning. The first maybe 3 days was really difficult. I always wake up without the tape. I don't know how I take it out during
Mhm.
night. But after some days, suddenly I started to see the results, and really at the end we are sleeping 6, 7, 8 hours per night. And if we can secure that we are doing nasal breathing during all those hours, your health start to improve. And that's a very, very good example of how to do it. So that's, for me, it's really powerful.
Yeah, and you're right that for some people this simple task could be very difficult because the habit of mouth breathing is strong. But in this case, they could start by breathing through the nose at night, for 1 hour or 2 hours. And it's a good start. And if they establish this couple of now hours of nasal breathing at night, then eventually it will become the whole night.
Yeah, but it's a matter of understanding that sometimes this takes time. I remember that in a call that I had with you and a mastermind that you have, and having this conversation, there was a person that was like very anxious. Like, I want to be in the 60 seconds as soon as possible. I am in the 20s. How you can help me? And the first thing that you said is like, do you want to go to 60 tomorrow? And everybody was, yes, of course. And you say, no, that is really wrong. Can you explain a little bit about that? Because really, that's something that, especially in our culture right now, that everything has to be like as soon as possible.
Instant. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, okay, now yeah, I understand. Thank you very much. Buteyko works. No, it's not working because in 1 week I don't have the 60 seconds. Like, what is happening?
Right. Yeah. So establishing good health is always a process. It's cannot be done instantly. Um, um, Dr. Buteyko said that breathing is like nuclear power. It's just as powerful as atomic energy. And if you know what to do with your breathing, it could improve your health relatively quickly. And if you don't know what to do with your breathing, it can destroy your health quickly. So, in a way, by changing our breathing, we are dealing with something very powerful, much more powerful than a diet, much more powerful than any liquid. You know? um, and can you increase your breathing measurement, so-called control pause or positive maximum pause, within a very short time? Yes, you can, but it could come with a serious healing crisis because people who overbreathe, usually their bodies contain a lot of toxins and the body is not able to get rid of them on its own. When we activate or strengthen our breathing, the immune system becomes very strong and it actively starts getting rid of the toxins. And unfortunately, it could become, it could be scary and problematic, and the old symptoms could become very strong during this time. It's called a healing crisis because it actually results in better health and breathing. So it's a positive thing, but it could be a very unpleasant thing. So usually in my work, I choose slightly different direction. So I'll help people to make small changes and stabilize them. And that allows to avoid that, very dramatic healing crisis and
Mm.
just keep improving their health in a steadily way.
So at the end, if we are measuring using the control post to start to measure how our health is improving, and I start to do a lot of exercises and different things at the same time, it can ignite the healing quicker, but can create a big disruption also at the same time with the healing process, right?
Right. So if you this method is built around the idea of increasing the level of carbon dioxide in the lungs,
Mm,
right? And if you increase it too quickly, you can experience a healing crisis, which could be mild or could be very strong. So there are ways to avoid that. But generally speaking, most modern people have a shortage of CO2 in their lungs due to their lifestyle. And so the Buteyko method helps them to increase that level to the level of, to the norm or even above the norm. And we accomplish it by working with our breathing directly, by doing various breathing exercises, but also by modifying our lifestyle. So
mm,
anything we do in our lives, whether generates CO2 for us or makes us lose it.
mm,
And most people are not aware of this process. The Buteyko method helps them to turn every element of their lifestyle into a CO2 or health building technique.
mm.
And it's a process, it's not instant, that's for sure.
What are the things that people that you are offering right now to help people in this process, to do it quicker, to do it with kids? What are the things that you have, like the different programs that you have that people can be aware, like, oh, I like what they are talking, Alejandro and Sasha, it's amazing, it's great, but what is the next step? What is the thing that I can do now?
Mm-hmm. So if a person has breathing difficulty, I recommend them to read my book, which is called Breathe to Heal. And that book contains a lot of several original texts of Dr. Buteyko. Also, I created a video course, which is called Buteyko Breathing Step by Step. And it's exactly what the title says. It's a step-by-step program, how to improve breathing and modify the lifestyle. It's about 8 hours of instructions. And of course, it doesn't make sense to watch all of it at once. Just watch a little bit, apply the recommendations, see your health improving. Then you watch more and apply more and so on. So this is a very good way to learn the Buteyko method.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I also have other programs. In many cases, I work with people one-on-one for 2 months, and I customize everything for their situation, making sure that they're able to increase their level of CO2, which Dr. Buteyko called the main regulator of all body's functions. So they're able to increase that level of their control pose, within 2 months. And by changing their breathing, they're often able to become symptom free and medication free. If not, at least they're able to reduce their medication and reduce their symptoms considerably. So those are two main programs for beginners. Also, this June, I'm doing an event in person. It's in Colorado, where I am in high mountains. It's called Sacred Breath Buteyko Wellness Retreat. So it's for experienced practitioners as well as beginners. And I'm also available for private sessions online. So if a person wants me to evaluate their breathing and help them to create a program to improve their breathing, I'm available for those sessions.
Awesome. And really, anybody that is having this thinking, like, okay, this is great, this is something that maybe I would like to test or not, remember, you can have weeks without food, days without water, but you can have minutes without air. And really understanding how to improve your breathing can change all the other things. And suddenly you are not going to be like so anxious about the food that you want to eat. The majority, or if not everything, of the fat that we have is it's through breathing that is taken out of our body. It's not through different diets. It's how you are breathing is going to help you to really improve. So and I was something that I saw it perfectly with Sasha and with Daniel, my kid, how everything started to change, and also for myself. So I know that Sasha was not asking for this type of commercial, but I wanted to do it because I really believe in this method, and how that this has changed my life, my family, and that I am really thankful for that, Sasha.
Thank you. And my story is the same. And it's actually a story of many people who came across the Buteyko method and started practicing it. That's why they often say that the method is miraculous, because it does create a dramatic difference in how we feel. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're in the last minutes of the program, Sasha. If people is listening and they are like maybe having second thoughts on this, how I can try it. First, let's start with again the link for your, what is the name of your website, so they can go there and continue studying that. And the second part, what do you want to leave to there? Like, okay, if you don't remember anything, just remember this. What is going to be that thing?
Right. So thank you, Alejandro. The link to my website is, or the name of the URL of my website is breathingcenter.com. And what to take from it, from this program. Number one, if you can establish nasal breathing, just that, when you are awake, when you are asleep, when you are exercising, even when you talk, we are supposed to inhale through the nose actually when we talk. So just this one thing will change your life enormously. It will make you so much more energetic, stronger, healthier. The other thing is that it's really helpful to practice invisible breathing when nothing in your body moves because of breathing. That's the second step. And the third one, also don't believe that we need to breathe all the time. It's like, we don't need to eat or drink all the time, and we don't need to breathe all the time as well. So start gently stopping your breathing after exhalation for 1 or 2 seconds here and there. You don't need to block your nose. You could just stop breathing for this very short period of time. And that will boost your CO2 concentration in your lungs, which is what, in India was called prana, and will help you to become much healthier. So just those three simple things could dramatically change your health conditions.
Thank you, Sasha. So, and everyone that was hearing, thank you for being with us today. Sasha, it was amazing. I knew that today was going to be amazing with with the conversation with you. And really, if anybody has any questions, you can reach directly Sasha in that page. If you don't find it because of any reason, you can look chat to me, and I will redirect you to Sasha. So that it's perfect. So thank you. I believe, well, something that we are going to do is I am going to start to have in this program a couple of people that has been working with Sasha in the past, to start to give more examples of how Buteyko and how understanding the breathing has changed their lives, and it's improving like a lot of people. It's not only some people, but really thousands of people are learning from this method and becoming better because of that. So thank you for your mission, Sasha, and what you are doing. It's amazing. See you next time.
Thank you very much, Alejandro, and always nice to see you. Bye now. Have a good day.
Okay. So this show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.